Good morning, Israel. I know it's kind of late in the day. I had to take care of myself. Didn't sleep all that well last night. I had some other stuff to attend to this morning. So it's getting rather late in the day, 23rd of December. And I'm going to read from the Bible as far as these next chapters of Isaiah, from Isaiah chapter 10 on. I do have a page or two folded. I do have some highlights and some underlined, but I think it's best to just read through this. Pastor Jerry Wickey did say that rather than be preaching, we would do a lot better if we just read the Bible instead of trying to interpret it or color it or take it in directions that might not be intended. Isaiah 10. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from afar? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath, and I will give him a charge to take the spoil, and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. However, he means not so, neither does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. For he said, Are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Calno as Carchemish? Is not Hamath as Arpad? Is not Samaria as Damascus? As my hand has found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Reins refers to controls. Controls, like you have reins on a horse. The wolf shall also dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatted calf together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the poisonous serpent's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathmos, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not distress Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. For Yahweh shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he make his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over with dry sandals. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Syria, like as it was to Israel in the day when he came up out of the land of Egypt. Israel has never gone back home. This highway hasn't happened yet. Chapter 12, Isaiah. And in that day you shall say, O Yahweh, I will praise you. Though you were angry with me, your anger is turned away, and you comforted me. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for Yahweh, is my strength and my song. He also has become my salvation. Therefore with joy shall you draw water out of the wells of salvation. And in that day shall you say, Praise Yahweh, call upon his name, declare his doings among the people, make mention that his name is exalted. Sing unto Yahweh, for he has done excellent things. This is known in all the earth. Cry out and shout, you inhabitant of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of you. Yah and Yahweh. Yah is his nickname. It's short for the first syllable of Yahweh, mentioned in this chapter together. And there is one inclusion of the nickname Yah in the New International Version and in the King James Version as well. So the original nickname slipped through. That's what caught my eye and made me think there's more to it. And of course, with this Bible, you get the more to it. Isaiah 13, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts musters the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Howl you, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that labors. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh comes, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. This is coming in the future. Everyone goes back to their own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children shall also be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, nuked. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Isaiah 14. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cling to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh, for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they are, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give you rest from your sorrow, and from your fear, and from the hard bondage wherein you were made to serve in the United States of America and the rest of the world. That you should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hinders. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yes, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were laid down, no woodsman has come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto you, have you also become weak as we? Have you become like unto us? Your pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of reveals. The worm is spread under you, and the worms cover you. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning! How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. 5 I wills of Satan. Lucifer. Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you, and consider you, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the clothing of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. You shall be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land and slain your people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. The genocide that we are currently living through, most of us. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, says Yahweh of hosts, and I will cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, says Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched forth out upon all the nations. This hasn't happened yet. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For Yahweh of hosts has purposed, and who shall annul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Rejoice you not, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote you is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a poisonous serpent, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill your root with famine, and he shall slay your remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, you, whole Palestina, are dissolved. For there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That Yahweh has founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. The burden of Moab, because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste, and brought to silence, because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste, and brought to silence. He has gone up to Bajith and to Dibon, the high places, to weep. Moab shall howl over Nebo, and over Medeba, and On all their heads shall be baldness, and every beard cut off, sign of humiliation. In their streets they shall gird themselves with sackcloth. On the tops of their houses and in their streets shall every one howl, weeping abundantly. And Heshbon shall cry, and Elealeh, their voice shall be heard even to Jahaz. Therefore the armed soldiers of Moab shall cry out. His life shall be grievous unto him. My heart shall cry out to Moab. His fugitives shall flee into Zoar, a heifer of 3 years old. For by the mounting up of Luhith with weeping shall they go up. For in the way of Horonaim they shall raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrin shall be desolate. For the hay has withered away, the grass fails, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, that which they have laid up, shall they carry away to the brook of the willows. For the cry has gone round about the borders of Moab, the howling thereof to Eglam, and the howling thereof to Biralim. For the waters of Dimon shall be full of blood, and I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapes of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. Send you the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that, as a wandering bird cast out of the east, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. Take counsel, execute judgment, make your shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast, reveal not to him that wanders. Let my outcast dwell with you. Moab, be you a covert to them from the face of the spoiler, for the executioner is at an end. The spoiler ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, and seeking judgment and hastening righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab. Everyone shall howl. For the foundations of Kerathis shall you mourn. Surely they are stricken. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah. The lords of the heathen have broken down the principal plants thereof. They have come even to Jazer. They have wandered through the wilderness. Her branches were stretched out. They have gone over the sea. Therefore I will bewail of the weeping of Jazer, the vine of Sibmah. I will water you with my tears, O Heshbon and Elealeh, for the shouting of your summer fruits, and for the harvest, your harvest has fallen. And gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field. And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting. The treaders shall tread out no wine in their presses. I have made their vintage shouting to cease. Therefore my bowels shall sound like a harp for Moab, and my inwards parts for Kirharesh. And it shall come to pass, when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he shall come to his sanctuary to play, but he shall not prevail. This is the word that Yahweh has spoken concerning Moab since that time. But now Yahweh has spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of a hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be dishonored, with all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. Isaiah chapter 17. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. We will end there today. I wanted to give you this verse in particular because Damascus, which is also called by the Syrians Damesh, has never been uninhabited. This prophecy has not been fulfilled. I believe we are living at the time wherein we will see it be fulfilled, and Damascus will be reduced to a ruinous heap. So, we'll cover that next. It's been kind of short today, and that's the way it needs to be at times. As far as what stood out to me and what I marked in these particular passages, I've commented a little bit on the fly, and there's a few things that really do stand out in here. I think the nickname Yah and his proper name Yahweh stands right out. And though your people Israel be as the sands of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. So in other words, most of Israel will be put to death, will have died. That hasn't occurred yet. We're in the process of that. From what I can tell from reading further in the Bible, we lose 1/3. And then after that, we lose 1/3 of what is left. And if you do the math, it's somewhere between 48 and 50% of the Earth's population. Or it might mean just the seed of Israel will be gone. We have mentioned that the slaughter at the rock of Oreb, which was important when they came into the Sinai desert, into the Sinai Peninsula, into the Arabia on Mount Sinai, which is not on the Sinai Peninsula. It's inside the Arabia, just barely. We found that place. I've got a video. I don't know where in storage, but I've got it. And we have a rod out of the stem of Jesse, which, of course, was Yahshua. And this is very interesting because in the apocryphal books, we see the picture of a Yahshua who comes forward with power out of his mouth, and he slays the wicked. So he opens his mouth, and sparks and flames and real fury comes from it, and it basically disintegrates the peoples that come up against him. And he protects the flock in those books. Earth shall be full of knowledge of Yahweh in 11:9, Isaiah. I think that's very important. Remnant, recover the remnant of his people. The dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. A lot of people, you have to remember that Judah generally refers to the house of Judah, to the southern two tribes, which had Jerusalem and had the temple. But the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth has not occurred yet. So they are dispersed as well. The outcasts of Israel was cast out. God gave Israel a bill of divorcement. So Israel was divorced. Judah did the same thing. Suffered the same fate just a little bit later. And we have the mention of the day of Yahweh, which is very important. There are several days of Yahweh that are alluded to here. One is the rebirth of the earth, the end of the earth age. Okay? Another is the destruction, which appears to be a nuclear destruction. So we have that. And there's at least one more. And I think this is very important. In verse 14 of chapter 13, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. Right now, America is very mixed, and I believe this refers to people going to their own lands. And so those who do not belong here, it's not their land, they will leave. So I think that's going to be a mass exodus out of here. Maybe it will be uninhabitable. Who knows? In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, which of course the United States has become, along with the city of London and the city of Rome, the three of them form a triumvirate of evil, a trinity of evil. They shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. We know that God used nukes on Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's nothing new under the sun. That may happen again. We may be coming to that. Verse 21, owls shall dwell there. Did you know that on every dollar bill there's a little tiny owl perched up, carved into one of the corners? Satyrs. What are satyrs? Satyrs are kind of like a male prostitute or a male nymphomaniac. And we've got that word in the Bible. It belongs in here. There's reason for it. We have wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. Interesting. Really interesting. Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and he will set them in their own land. So we will all find out who belongs where from this. I'm not going to dictate and tell you that I know that. I don't know where we belong. But here we have Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. I think we're seeing that at this point in time in history. We're seeing that the power of the wicked is being broken. Once we get rid of this FBI in particular, that will be a major thing off our backs here. And the scepter of the rulers, their power, is taken from them. And the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. Boy, I don't know if that's referring to after a nuclear war or after the magnetic reversal, the end of an earth age and the rebirth of a new earth age. And here we have the very interesting allusion to, you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer. And I believe in other versions it refers to as fallen like lightning from on high, fallen like Barak from on high, or like my double-edged sword of lightning, or my two-edged sword. And there's 5 wills here. I've counted that up before. And that's kind of important. You will see that Lucifer doesn't give a damn about Yahweh's will. It's his will that counts to him. And I made the world as a wilderness. Well, during this next earth age, the whack of the planet, the brunt of the thrust, the forces will be in Europe and Africa. Those continents will be hit the hardest. The last time, it's not going to be as bad as the last time. We're not in line for that according to those in the know. And the last one was pretty bad, and that hit North America and South America. That took the brunt of it about 12,000 years ago. You have destroyed your land and slain your people. I think at this point we can all agree that the governments, our own governments, are our own enemies today. For all Western civilization, maybe even Eastern civilizations. The Chi-Coms, could they be an enemy to the Chinese people? Yeah. A lot of destruction. And we have the serpent's root, a poisonous serpent, a fiery flying serpent. And we hear that they killed the root with famine. I'm sure that's a judgment upon the entire earth. And smoke arising out of the north. We have Moab because of his lies, and we have pride mentioned. I'm sorry, folks, I can't help but think of the gay pride parades. I mean, they just don't care. It's haughtiness. Sounds like gay pride to me. His pride and his wrath. Well, whose wrath is that? That could be the wrath of the gay folks. I mean, they do hate the family. They do hate the society. They do want to destroy us. They don't want to merely coexist. They don't want to merely go along to get along. They actually are doing their best to destroy the nation at this point. They're going after the children in particular. I think it's unforgivable. We have way too much childhood exploitation. We've got all of these people that are in the advertising business, and they sexualize children, and do that psychologically to corrupt the rest of us and to screw things up. And we come to Isaiah. Damascus will be destroyed. Hasn't happened yet. It's one of the longest lasting and oldest inhabited cities that I know of on the planet. Nineveh actually survived, at least from what I can tell, that Nineveh survived not just the previous Earth Age, but the Earth Age before that, and perhaps even more. We also have Baalbek, the ruins there, which delineate clearly the last three Earth Ages. You've got one structure built on top from the previous Earth Age before the last flood, and then the other one before that, which is a little bit larger. It's large enough to provide a foundation for the last of the ruins. And then below that, you have these massive stones, which some people say we couldn't even move and do today. And my uncle disagrees with me and tells me we can do anything. We just have to be willing to put enough time, talent, labor, money to it. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you got something out of this. I'm going to push my way through Isaiah, and we're going to be going through the major prophets here in detail as best possible. We're going to go through the minor prophets as well. There's a lot to be learned from the prophets in particular. I highly recommend this Bible. Prices will not be this low ever again as they are right now. I don't know how long prices will stay this low. I know that once the stock has been diminished to a certain extent, that the prices are going to go up. A fair market value on a Bible like this would be $100. The last I checked, it was less than half of that. So go get it while you can. I like the large print, the leatherette bound one. That's what I recommend. If you want a family Bible, something easy to read. If you need something a little bit smaller, go for the standard print. May Yahweh bless America. May the people of America bless Yahweh. I know that might sound kind of sacrilege to you. When one of my buddies, dear brother Tom, told me that and gave me some stickers to put on my travel trailer to that effect, I felt offended. And then, of course, I opened up the Bible and read, and I found it in there. You know, that the old boys blessed Yahweh, Creator, Father God. So, let's do that. Yahweh bless America.